Hi guys, it's Nina from VR Focus. I'm joined by...
Robin Scott, I'm the Managing Director at Make Real.
So give me a brief overview of Make Real and how you guys came to be.
So Make Real started about 12 years ago, but amongst the sort of senior leadership team, we've been working in interactive tech for about 20 years now. So our background was in flight simulators, games, and a number of other interactive technologies. But then we've grown from a department within a bigger business into a business in our own right over the last 4 years since the advent of the sort of current generation of VR and AR technology, really, which has really helped us to push on.
What was that tipping point of, okay, let's do VR?
Well, firstly, it was a very strong push from within the team, which we always really, really value here. One of the things is we like to feel like everyone within the team can shape how the business is. And Sam, our Director of Immersive Technology, David, our Technical Director, and Jeff, our Creative Director, really made a strong push for the technology around the time of the Kickstarter for Oculus. And so it wasn't a huge sort of risk for us to get involved in that. And then once we got our hands on some of the kit, and we could see the buzz in various sectors that we worked in around the applications of that technology, that really helped us to push ahead again.
It all sounds very exciting. Did you think that coming from flight simulation to VR that there was much of a difference?
Well, funnily enough, not so much. Actually, in terms of design and how you go about thinking about the kind of applications that we build, the tactics and design preferences that you use in those kind of applications are very, very similar. The way we see it is that technology evolves and becomes available at different price points, and that makes it available for different industries. But as long as you have a business need or a training need, or there's a way of connecting with consumers if you're building a consumer product, then the tools can really help you to do that. In terms of designing for a simulator or designing for a VR training app or designing for a consumer VR game, a lot of the concepts translate really, really well. And that's where that experience, that 20 years of experience amongst the team and 12 years as a business and as a team working together really help.
You're working in the field of VR and AR, and it's changing so rapidly, so quickly. How are you finding it working from a field for 20 years and then suddenly being in this rapid, quickly evolving, expanding technology?
It's challenging. As a small business of our size, last year we did 41 events. So that's at least 41 of the 52 weeks of the year we were out and about overnight at events talking to people about what we're doing. That and developing the stuff means you don't have a huge amount of time left over to keep yourself completely abreast of everything that's happening. However, when we started, you needed £1 million for an image generator to even start doing immersive tech in terms of any sort of scale with regards to the visuals. So the very fact that we've gone from a position where we had to spend, 7 figures to have an image generator down to having the current round of technology coming in at, even a high-end VR system with a laptop coming in at sub £2,000. It means that the opportunities are massive for us, and that's really exciting. And we try and focus on that element of it.
Run through all of your clients. I understand that you come more from a corporate background and you do lots of education. How do you approach them when it comes to creating a product for them?
Yeah, well, we do actually, I spent 6 years in games as well, so I've had sort of that exposure to both corporate and consumer, although I would certainly say that my experience leans towards the corporate. That's where I have a greater experience. It's really interesting bringing new technology to corporates. For a number of years within the business as well, for example, we did web-based projects. And web has been around long enough for everyone to have their expectations set. They know what they want. They've experienced it a lot before for a range of different size and complexities of products. So there's a lot of expectations there. I think the most challenging thing with corporates is, firstly, people, most of the time they're interested in VR and AR technology, but they don't really understand what it is they're buying. They don't have that day-to-day hands-on view of it. That means that they really understand what flavour it is that they're getting of those technologies. And as we all know, it's a huge, broad range of technologies. So really, it's about working with them so that they really understand it first. So first and foremost, before we build anything, we make sure that we work with those clients so that they really understand the technology, its applications, and what it is that they're buying. And then from there, it's a case of not trying to do too much too quickly. Build on the core mechanics that help them solve business problems, prove that they work, and then build out from there.
And from the gaming side, how are you approaching that? Is that a different model or a different outlook?
It's a huge learning curve for us. So we love building games. We've been very fortunate to build two well-received VR games early in the sort of technology cycle. But in terms of understanding consumer needs, price points, consumer-based marketing and so on, that's not an area of massive expertise for us. And because of the nature of the beast in terms of the games market right now for VR, you know, both of our games we've developed and self-published, one under the Tamika moniker and one as Make Real. And that has meant that we've had to learn very, very quickly about all of those aspects of building a consumer product and pricing a consumer product and marketing a consumer product. You know, and we've had some good successes and we've had some failures that we've learnt from as well.
Working as a small VR company based in Brighton in the UK, how do you think you're doing with regards to moving along with this technology? Do you think being a small company, being adaptable is helpful rather than being this huge, big company? Or do you think, you know, you would like a little bit of extra help?
It's a happy balance between the two, I think. You know, being small and agile in that sense is very powerful, and it means we can, you know, to coin an old expression, turn on a sixpence and, you know, adjust our trajectory according to what we see in front of us very, very quickly. And then on the downside for that, you know, it's incredibly challenging to keep your finances stable, to keep the projects coming in one after another, to make sure that you're in a position to invest wisely within the business. And over the last year, we've been working very hard to bring investment into the business to allow us to do that, to give us, as far as we can, you know, within certain scales, the best of both worlds, so that ability to stay nimble and change to the market we see in front of us, whilst at the same time having the financial resources to invest in R&D, product development, with a view to the long term. Because, you know, the VR market is, you know, it's still an emerging market. It's still an early adopter market, and whilst there's plenty of business for a business, plenty of work for a business of our size, it's still a long way from peaking out. And it's about making sure we're in the right position as it grows, and growing with the market as it comes.
I mean, I've interviewed a lot of VR companies, and within a few months they disappear. So you guys existing for this long, there must be something that you're doing right.
Well, you say that, but we'll disappear within a few months now, won't we? As soon as I answer this question. But no, I think, yeah, but, you know, we've always, first and foremost here, and it's not the most exciting thing. It's not, you know, when other entrepreneurs are there talking about their lean startup methodologies and the products they've built, it can be very, very exciting. We've always been a little bit drab in that we've always focused on being a sustainable, profitable business first. And that means sometimes the work isn't the most glamorous work as seen by the rest of the industry. That means sometimes we have to be very short term in our outlook. But it also means that we don't make people redundant. We're not in this constant boom and bust cycle. We have a core group of clients who really value what we do for them. And that makes, as far as it can be for a business of our size, it makes our lives a bit more predictable. And we try as hard as we can to do that in a nice ethical way as well, where we bring people along board with us, don't have crunch periods within the studio, don't ask people to put work before their life. We don't like to talk about work-life balance, because that implies you're having to do something to make it work. You know what I mean? We want people to be able to prioritise accordingly, and you know, our priorities as a business are to create excellent high quality products, and we believe that if we have the right balance with our staff, the right balance with our clients, that gives us the best chance to achieve that.
What are you looking for in the future with this investment that you've recently gotten? What does the future look like for you?
First and foremost, and the most exciting thing is building some of our stuff, if you know what I mean, in the most simple sense, in that we always build things for other people, which we love, and it's given us the opportunity to have a fantastic working environment and work life. However, every time we do a project like that, we throw off a ton of, you know, what we term anyway, background IP, i.e. mechanics, and other elements of the projects that we do that we can see lots of value in, but we're so busy making that project or making the next project that we never get to really exploit that background IP. So the thing I think we're most looking forward to in the short term is to take a medium-term view of all that background IP, develop our own R&D and product tank team, and let them convert all of that background IP into some products and research activities that will really help drive the business into the future. And we were just talking about that ability to innovate. What the investment gives us more than ever is that ability to see if we are good enough to do that ourselves. We've always had the excuse of never having the time. Now we've got the time, so now we've got to prove it.
So if a client wants to work together with you and they're looking to, I don't know, find some new innovative ways of telling a story or a simulation, how do they go about contacting you?
Well, they can contact us obviously through the normal media channels, through our website and everything else. But how we really like to meet people face to face. We really like to take the time to understand what people need. We don't like to rush into our relationships too quickly. For us, it's all about building clients that we have for 3, 4, 5 years and beyond, not the sort of quick land grab for clients. So we like to meet our clients quite often at events, or we really welcome anyone who's interested in VR to get in touch, come to our offices and work with us and some of our partners that we work with as well to deliver initial sort of immersive technology, knowledge sharing, and that kind of activity. So typically we meet with people at an event or something like that, then we invite them to the office, we'll work with them for a week so that until we really feel that they understand what the technology is, how to apply it, and how it can add value for them. And then if, and it is a big if, and it's not always the case, if we can be really certain that we can use our experience and those immersive technology tools to add value to what they're trying to do, then we'll start moving through the gears into a project. But that initial consultative, I suppose, would be the right way to put it, way of engagement is really important to us, and we think it's really important to our clients as well.
Speaking of balance, do you think that sort of working with simulation and then bouncing that back to gaming and them feeding each other has really sort of pushed you guys forward with regards to the technology?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's difficult when you're project based to drive technology because you are really feeding into your clients' needs, be them business needs, learning needs, or whatever. Um, we get good opportunity to do that within games. That's why we love building games as well. A, because we have a good gaming background. B, because it's exciting for the teams. But also when we have been able to build games in the climate that we get to build games, which is that of an emerging market, we get to be quite experimental. You know, I would imagine that if we were building traditional console games in a really established market, we wouldn't actually get to experiment as much because the publisher would have exert a lot greater control over what we're doing and have a lot greater expectations. But because this market is still in the early stages and you have hardware funding and you know, in our case, we're even looking to proprietarily fund our projects, it means we really can experiment, and that's the area where we get to really push it. And then we fold that back into our corporate work as well. And in a way, the corporate work gives us that financial foundation to be stable, and then the games and Ents and live and out of home work that we do gets to really feed the innovation back in.